So for the guys who like to snipe, bringing back some classic ones like that, and then a nice medium with bailout, which, it has some really good long sight lines for snipers, but then it also has some, as you're fighting through the apartment complex, the actual buildings instead of the surrounding outside, you have that close quarters combat too. So we've been listening to what everybody said, and there's maps and areas in these maps for every type of player.
Now, with these 5 maps, I mean, clearly you guys have the ones that you've redone a little bit and these brand new ones. Tell me about some of the data that you've collected. I mean, you talked about the community feedback, but you also have access to raw data in terms of where the choke points are on the maps, and you kind of know the kill to deaths and whatnot and kind of what maps work. Tell me about the development process going into some of these maps and how you guys work as a team to really create a really great map experience.
Yeah, well, I mean, that is the hardest part, and I think that's what our designers here at Infinity Ward do the best, is really, hammering away at these maps constantly. Every day we're doing play tests and changing it up based on all of that data and both past data and gameplay data when we're playing it here, keeping that data in mind. And that's stuff like, making sure that every map works well for all the kill streaks. I mean, we have 15 kill streaks in Modern Warfare 2. And you want to, we're looking at data, what's used most and what seems to get the most kills and what doesn't, and maybe, catering certain areas so it can take advantage of the kill streaks in the custom classes that you're using. But then also looking at, what perk classes, what loadout classes are people using the most, and making sure that the maps are balanced for all those. You don't want a map. You can't have a map too small, because if somebody's using Marathon, they have unlimited sprint, they're going to get across that map in no time. So it's really, balancing that out and balancing out the routes that they can take. So, regardless of what your perk loadout is or where your spawn points are when you start the match, every team has an equal advantage in game types.
Now, obviously when you launched back in November, you and I were together out there in New York, and we knew it was going to be big, but I mean, now that you look back, the launch was massive. Some are calling it the largest launch in entertainment history. Yeah. What do you think about what makes it successful? I mean, you talked about some of the care that the team down at Infinity Ward puts into creating the maps, but I mean, where is the success? I mean, what's the difference between a good game, and I don't want to name any names, and your game, which many would consider a great game?
I think it comes down to the core quality of the game. I mean, the Infinity Ward team here are paid so much attention to detail, and they put so much work into just, making sure things are right. And then also, when the game comes out and everybody's hammering away at it, the team is really great here as listening to that feedback and addressing it as fast as possible. So if something comes up, we're immediately working on a fix for it and pushing out the door as fast as we can. And that, that word of mouth spreads. I mean, when people play a game that they love and they see the quality in it, and they're telling their friends about it, and their friends are jumping on. And then most importantly, when they come across issues, if they do, knowing that we're continuing to support our game. And I think that, especially in multiplayer, does a lot for building up that community and making them dedicated to the game, because they know you're listening to them and they know you're addressing them. And, it may take a little time, but we're definitely hitting them up. I mean, when we release this DLC, we're also going to be doing another patch for the game that is adding in more stuff for our fans. Hardcore HQ playlist, people were like, hey, I'm not seeing Invasion, Skid Row, High Rise, Terminal. I'm not seeing this map in this game type, and I would love to play them, because not every map is in every game type, because we balance it for that. I heard that feedback, and when we update the game in a little bit, we're planning on adding those maps to Hardcore Headquarters. We're planning on adding in some more playlists so you can play the DLC, but we're also going to add in some hardcore mosh pit, because people were saying, hey, I want more hardcore. So it's about having that open dialogue with your community, but having that core quality of the game there as well.
I mean, the other thing to point out is you're, in addition to, I'm awfully chatty on Twitter, you are as well. People can find you at twitter.com/402, correct?
Yep. Out.
So I'll make sure I link off to that as usual. And then you've got so much going on with your forums, and then of course you're out there chatting with them with Twitter, and they're communicating with you over Xbox Live. I mean, I was just checking. I don't know, this number seems crazy, but apparently Modern Warfare 2 had 25 million unique users on Xbox Live this week. That's the data I have here, so that's pretty unbelievable.
Yeah. I mean that's insanity. When I first saw that number, 25 million unique people, 25 million different people logging on. I mean, so the fact that we've got to this point in games, period, of people logging online for multiplayer is just insanity to me. It's awesome.
Yeah, it is. It's really crazy stuff, and you guys have really kind of moved the goalposts down the field a little bit in terms of gameplay, and as you said, some of the quality that Infinity Ward has put in. So let's go one more time before I let you go. We got 5 maps. Go over the 5 maps.
Yeah, 5 maps. You got Bailout, the burned out apartment complex. You got Storm, the weathered warehouse district. You got Salvage, a snowy junkyard, and then the classic Crash and Overgrown. Some of the most fan favorites from Call of Duty 4.
And those are going to be available on Xbox Live first on March 30th. First on March 30th, and they're going to be about 1,200 Microsoft points. Robert, people can catch screenshots of this over at Infinity Ward, right?
Yeah, we're going to be releasing screenshots out, and then hopefully a little bit more stuff to get people hyped up and get their eyes on these maps before they pick them up.
Thank you very much, my friend. I appreciate it. I know you're busy, and I want to let you go continue. Have a great weekend. Have a great weekend, and again, congratulations on a great game.
Yeah, thanks, Larry.
Thank you to my guests for that, and as you heard in that interview, we've got some Modern Warfare 2 maps coming out. Your son's going to be excited.
He'll be very excited.
He'll be very excited about that, and Supreme Commander 2, he's excited for that because he's our resident RTS expert.
That's right.
And then let's move forward because we've got a lot more to cover before we wrap up here. We've got Laura and I are actually going on the road. Well, it's not just you and I.